All right, let's crack the code on one of the biggest questions in the IB Middle Years program. How in the world do your math grades actually work? We're going to break down the entire assessment system step by step. So let's dive right in.
So, has this ever happened to you? You get an assignment back, you see a score out of 8, but then when your report card comes out, you've got a grade from 1 to 7. It feels kind of weird, right? But trust me, there's a really smart reason behind this whole system.
Okay, so what's really going on here is that these two scoring systems are working together. The scores out of 8 that you get all year long, think of those as feedback. They're telling you how you're doing on a very specific skill. It's not about racking up points. The final grade, the 1 to 7, that's the big picture. It's a complete look at everything you've mastered by the end. It's all about growth.
So to really get how that final grade is calculated, you first have to understand the blueprint. The foundation for every single thing you're assessed on in MYP math. And it's all built on 4 core pillars, or as the IB calls them, criteria. And here they are, Criterion A, B, C, and D. Now, what's super important to know is that each one of these is weighted exactly the same. No single one is more important than another. They are the 4 key skills that make a great mathematician. So let's break them down.
First up, Criterion A, knowing and understanding. This is probably what you think of when you hear math class, right? It's the fundamentals. Do you know the rules? Can you pick the right formula for the job? And can you apply it correctly? It's all about having the right tools in your toolbox and knowing how to use them.
Next, we've got Criterion B, investigating patterns. I love this one. It's basically the detective work of math. You're given a situation or a set of numbers, and your job is to find the hidden pattern, describe it, and maybe even turn it into a general rule. This is where you really start to think critically.
And that brings us to Criterion C, communicating. And let me tell you, this one is huge. See, in MYP math, it is not enough to just get the right answer. No way. You have to prove how you got it. You have to explain your thinking using clear, proper mathematical language and symbols.
And finally, Criterion D. This is the one that answers that age-old question we've all asked. When am I ever going to use this? Well, this is it. This is where you take all that theoretical math from the classroom and apply it to solve a messy, practical, real-world problem.
Okay, so those are the 4 pillars. But to really master the system, you also have to learn to speak the language of MYP math. And that really comes down to paying super close attention to 2 things: command terms and mathematical notation. You know that first word in almost every question? That is the command term, and it's basically a secret instruction telling you exactly what to do. For example, if it says find, you absolutely have to show your work. But if it says write down, they just want the answer. No extra steps needed. Knowing the difference is a game changer. Speaking the language also means using the right symbols. Proper notation isn't just about being neat, it's a huge part of Criterion C, communication. So using a star for multiplication or a little caret symbol for a power, yeah, that might work on your keyboard, but on a formal assessment, it's just wrong. You gotta use the proper language of math.
So we have the 4 pillars, we're learning the language. Where is all of this headed? Well, it all comes together for the big finale, the official end-of-course eAssessment. This is where everything we've talked about gets put to the test.
The eAssessment itself is broken down into 3 main tasks. And if you look closely, these should seem pretty familiar. The first part is a direct test of Criterion A. The second part is a deep dive investigation, a total Criterion B challenge. And part 3, you guessed it, a classic real-life problem straight out of Criterion D. And of course, your communication skills are being judged across all 3.
And check out a question like this. Notice how it doesn't just ask you to calculate something. It says, comment on the validity of your answer. That means they want you to take a step back and think, okay, I got a number, but does this answer actually make sense in the real world? It's a whole level beyond just crunching numbers.
So we've seen the blueprint, and we've seen the final challenge. Let's talk about the destination. What does it actually mean to master this way of thinking? What does a student who gets a 7 really look like on paper?
Well, let's start with a baseline. According to the IB, a student at a grade 2 level sometimes uses math to solve simple familiar problems, and they do it with limited success. This is sort of the starting point of the journey.
Now look at the difference for a grade 7. This student works independently. They solve challenging problems, and not just familiar ones, but unfamiliar ones too. See that progression?
It's all about moving from needing help on easy problems to confidently tackling complex, brand new situations all on your own. That is the path to mastery.
So when you step back and look at the whole MYP system, you see it's built to do so much more than just teach you formulas. It's actually designed to teach you how to think. The real goal isn't the number on your report card. It's about learning to approach any problem with the curiosity, the logic, and the clear communication of a true mathematician. So the only question left is, are you ready?